Aloha, hope everybody's having a good one. Gotta make like a Hawaiian pirate voice or something like that. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator with Cookie Pirate. Okay, that was stupid. Today we're flying the CubCrafters XCub, down in Hawaii. I figured I'd change the place, from Alaska. So we're gonna do Hilo on the eastern side of the big island of Hawaii, straight across to Kona on the western side. It's gonna be just over a half-hour flight. We're going between two very tall mountain peaks, volcanoes really, and I don't even, wow, the distance isn't even showing up. It's saying about 56 miles, 32 minutes en route. We're gonna go probably at 8,500. Climb aboard, let's go flying. Dale, what's going on, man? Am I flying a cooler plane? I'm going with the XCub again. I may try to do Flight Sim 2024. Is that real time? Yes, it is. Of course, in Hawaii right now, it's just a little bit before 1 in the afternoon. Yep, 12:48 local time. Looks like we've got some pretty good conditions here. Whoa! We're starting with a big jet in front of us here. The weather's not looking great over here. Let's grab the weather here real quick. I want to see what everything's looking. 060 at 3, 10 miles visibility, overcast at 3,700. That could pose a challenge for us, because we have to go visual in this plane. 28 degrees, that's 82 Fahrenheit. 3,000 for the pressure. Alright, so we're good. Let's go ahead and get everything started up. Battery switch comes on first. Continue. Set the altimeter. There we go. Next thing we'll do is turn the magneto switches on. Actually, no, we should wait to do that, actually. Fuel pump. Mixture goes full rich. Fuel flow peaks. Now we'll turn the pump off. Now the ignition switches will come on. And let's just clear left, right. We're good. That should be full forward when we start the engine. Clear! And the engine is on. Does it say what I'm transporting? No, not in this. I believe in Flight Sim 24, the career mode actually does allow you to, but you can distribute whatever you want. You just determine the weight of the plane. Payload, stuff like that. Rhett, welcome, man. Welcome back. Alright, we can turn the strobe lights and the nav lights on. Oh, wait 1 sec. I gotta change this. Okay, there we go. I'm not very familiar with Hilo. Tell you what, we could probably just taxi down to runway 3, or we could just make a left turn out and go up to runway 8. That's probably easier. We'll do that shorter taxi. So basically what we'd be doing is coming this way, and then up there to the end of the runway. Alright, avionics on. Alternator on. we did that out of order. Alternator comes on first, then the avionics. I'm gonna go ahead and just do a quick run up here while we're parked. So, get everything running. At idle power, the oil pressure's in the yellow. It's a little low. We're gonna power up to get to about 2,000 RPMs. A little more. Look at the vehicles driving around us. Alright, that is good right there. Let's check the mags first. That's a good drop. Back on. Oh, this one. Good drop. Back on. Oh, we're gonna cycle the prop. Pull it back, it should drop about 100. Little more. That's fine. It's coming back up a little bit. Now we'll cycle it one more time. Should drop about 100 again. That's good. And back up. A drop of about 120. That's fine. The next thing we'll do is go idle power. And it should drop to about 600. And oil pressure drops back into the yellow. I'll bump it up to set about 1,000 RPMs. That's a little much. Come back just a tad. It's a little finicky. This plane doesn't really like to sit at 1,000 for whatever reason. It's working there. It's right about 21% on the manifold pressure. Okay. The next thing we'll do is go out of the cockpit and check the flight controls. So rudder's good, elevator's good, ailerons are good. Set the flaps. All of those are good. Look at the forklifts. There's 2 of them. It's like they're driving around aimlessly. Alright, back into the cockpit. We are good to taxi. So that is full forward. So we'll release the parking brake. I want to get a little bit better view up in here. Alright. Yeah, we got a conga line of vehicles just moving around. Welcome Microsoft Flight Simulator, folks. Alright, let's go. Parking brake released, and let's start taxiing forward. Let's just bump that up a little bit, get rolling. Really? These forklifts are just not paying good attention. There's an airplane with an engine running, and they're passing right in front of it. Oh, come on, get out of the way. Alright, so we're coming up here. We're going to take a left turn out here and just get on this taxiway. And we're going to come right up this way. I'm not even going to turn the autopilot on right now, just because we're going to have to hand fly to get through some of these, around these clouds. We can't go through them. Bump up the power just a little bit here. Back down, let's not get too fast here as we taxi out. Alright, runway is clear that direction. Clear that way. Let's set the flaps to 1. We're getting airborne. A little faster than normal. Just a little less time to configure everything. This is a little finicky, just the power and everything in this plane. Let's get out onto the runway here. Alright, we are lined up, runway 8. We're rolling. We got a lot of runway to work with. Okay, flaps are at 1. Full power. Engine instruments are good. Airspeed has come alive. Dancing on the rudder just a little bit there, and we're good to take off. Here we go. Hit the brakes. Positive rate. We can bring the flaps up. And right now we're going to climb to just 3,000 feet. And once we get 800 above the ground, we can go ahead and begin a turn. Try to keep our speed between 70 and 75 as we climb. We're gonna get a good view of the city of Hilo right here. That's pretty. We're a little fast. We need to try to find a break in the clouds, otherwise we're gonna have a really difficult time getting over. But that's the direction that we're gonna be headed. Alright. Now that we're set. Oh, we forgot to turn the landing light on. No worries. Alright. At this point, we can go ahead and set the autopilot. Altitude should be 3,000. We'll turn that on. And we're doing like a cruise climb right now. A little bit above 80. Next thing we'll do is just back off on the prop a little bit. Try to get about 2650. That's good there. And we're just gonna set our heading bug straight. Autopilot on. It's gonna take us down just a little bit because we went up above. And these clouds are going to make things kind of tricky. I'm hoping they won't prohibit us from being able to get over to Kona. But as you can see, this terrain rises as we get further over. Autopilot is on, right? Yeah. Should be climbing up to that'll get us to hold our altitude. And how about a quick look outside here? Beautiful view of the city of Hilo. It's one of the two major cities on the island. I think actually this is the largest on the big island. I think Kailua Kona is a little smaller, but I think it's the other major population center on the island. The weather's a little concerning though. And you can see that terrain's coming up pretty quick. This is between 5,000 and 6,000 feet. So we're gonna have to try to figure out a way to get above these clouds. And this is the windward side of the island, so it does tend to be more cloudy. The weather at Kona should be a lot better. But let's pull the map up, and you see that? That's the thing about it. Alright, let's turn the heading indicator on, and let's try to set a course right between these two. Maybe right about like that. Now, right here where the yellow begins, we're going to be less than 1,000 feet above the ground. The terrain slopes up gradually, but it does get pretty high. And then red is less than 100 or above. So we're gonna have to try to climb here. It looks like we've got room below the clouds to go up a little bit. So let's just gradually step our altitude up. Let's go up to 4,500. And we'll control that with the vertical speed. Alright, I'm gonna have to pay attention to this terrain. So I'm gonna be doing a lot of looking outside and just adjusting accordingly, but I'm gonna pull the map up real quick. Our route today, this is Hilo. This is Kona. That's where we're going over here. And if you look, we're flying right between two very large mountains. This is Mauna Kea, the tallest mountain in the world, actually. And it's the highest point in all of Hawaii. And then over here is Mauna Loa, which is an active volcano. And it is only about 100 feet or so shorter than Mauna Kea. If we, for any reason, can't make it above the clouds, or above that terrain, we would have to go all the way around the island, and that would be double to even perhaps triple the flight time. So I'm hoping we could avoid that. If we did do that, you get a pretty view of the coastline, and we actually would be flying right over the world's most active volcano, Kilauea, which sits kind of right down around here. Alright, we do have room below the clouds. Let's continue our climb. Let's go up to, let's set 5,500. If we have to level off before that, we'll do so. Now keep coming up. And yeah, these are getting higher, so we step it up to 6,500. I don't know if that's going to be high enough to clear this terrain, but we'll see. If we pull Sky Vector up, we can actually look. Hey Camellia, welcome back. Alright, so let me go in here and we'll turn the chart on. And there's a high point right there, but all of this terrain right here is the 5,000 foot line. Um, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. Yeah, so we're gonna have to get up to at least 7,500 to clear that terrain. I hope the clouds are high enough. Because you're 30,000 feet in the air, not even close. We're just over 6,000 right now. And those are still high. We can keep going up. Let's try to go all the way up to 8,500. Now, in reality, we could safely go at about 7,500. But for direction of flight, you generally want to go at an even altitude plus 500 feet. So 6,500 or 8,500 or 10,500, for example. Zoom out a little on the map. Oh, look at that, yeah. At that altitude, we do have a little bit. Where are we losing engine power here? What is going on? Do we need to lean? No, oh, you know what? As we're climbing, the air gets a little thinner. That's okay. Quick view outside. We're gonna make it through that terrain totally fine now. So, take a look over here. This is Mauna Loa. Goes up to about 13,600 feet. And then over here is Mauna Kea, and that goes up to about 13,007 something. Back there's Hilo. You can actually still see the airport, those flashing lights over there. And yeah, look at that. We're above that cloud layer back here. It starts to break up over here, and that's a good sign. Am I on VR? No, I'm not. This mountain over here is Hualalai. That's an extinct volcano on the island. The big island is actually made up of 5 volcanoes. So, I pointed out Mauna Kea, Mauna Loa, Kilauea. This is Hualalai, and this is Kohala, another extinct volcano. Actually, this might be dormant. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it's extinct. I think these two are extinct. That is dormant. It could be extinct as well, and these two could be. This could be dormant. They both could be. I know Mauna Loa is active, and obviously Kilauea is the most active volcano in the world. And if we go into the cockpit here, we've got plenty of terrain clearance. So we're looking pretty good. Once we come around the other side, we might be able to see some of the other islands in the state. You go at 9,000 instead of 85? No. And the reason for that is when you're going VFR, you're technically supposed to go at something 500. And it depends on your direction of flight. If you're going like south to west to northwest, you go at an even 1,000. And if you're going northeast to southeast, then you go at an odd number of 1,000 plus 500. And if you're going IFR, that's you don't add the 500. Can I do a Roblox theme park tycoon live stream? I don't have Roblox. So, no, that's not possible. Alright, here we are leveled off and our speed is picked up. Let's go ahead and lean the mixture, especially since we're pretty high up in altitude. Do a lean assist here. Generally about 8 gallons per hour is going to be our peak. We'll just set that there for a moment. Do we keep coming back? Actually, since we're higher up, it may take a lower fuel flow to peak. Yep, we just passed it right there, so we'll bump it up. About 7.5, I think, is going to be where we need to be. It's -5. Bump it up. Yeah, right there. Okay, perfect. Pull the map back up over here. So, there's an airport right over here. I'm actually not totally sure what it is. URAW win YouTuber. Oh, I appreciate that. So I'm not even sure what this airfield actually is. It is... Oh, Bradshaw Army Airfield. Okay. Didn't realize they had one right up there next to the mountain. And technically now we're in restricted airspace. If we were navigating in the real world, we would have to go around this or get permission to go through it, coordinating with ATC. That's Hualalai, that's the, I believe it's dormant, it might be extinct. Great view of Mauna Loa, but this plane can't get high enough to go up to it. Or to Mauna Kea. So, this out here is Kohala, that's the northern tip of the big island. And then in the distance you can actually see Maui. Right over here in the distance, this is Maui. Unfortunately, the clouds kind of block our view of the other islands. You might just barely be able to see, I think, Molokai out here. But I'm not totally sure about that. Brawlmick, welcome. Am I correct? You do not want to fly this particular plane into clouds? Not only you do not want to, but you cannot. You should not. Because it is not instrument certified. So if you were to get in the clouds and you can't see, then you might be in a bit of trouble. Not necessarily legal trouble, although that could happen, but you might actually be in a dangerous situation. Alright, let's go ahead and turn on course here. Let's just point that right over toward Kona. Am I going to a theme park soon? Possibly. I want to, but I don't have any concrete plans at the moment. I hope to soon before everything kind of starts closing for the season. Which, down here in the south, they tend to stay open a bit later. It's a good weather. Eventually, later this year, I'm going to make my way back down to Busch Gardens in Tampa and SeaWorld in Orlando. But I don't have plans as of right now for that. I'm waiting for the news on Kumba to reopen. Because I didn't get to go on that, of course, when I went in March. And I really want to make it back there. And get a chance to ride it when it does open. Alright, pull the map back up. And Kona sits right on the coast on the west edge. So, we're pointed pretty much straight toward it. And we're probably about 2/3 of the way. The halfway point is really at the top of this, right up here. As you see, we're in this is the restricted airspace that we, in the real world, would not be able to fly through, or we'd have to get permission. Obviously, in the sim, we don't have to worry about that, per se, unless we're going full-out real-world navigation. So I grab a view outside, and you can kind of see... I don't think it's fully loaded or rendered. but it should be somewhere on this coast over here. What's cool is if you take a look, it was more lush on that side, and you see it's a little bit more dry. It's not barren, I mean there's still plenty of vegetation, but you can see the ground is cracked. It definitely looks a little bit more... desert's not really the right word, but you can tell it's definitely a kind of drier area of the island compared to the east side where Hilo is. Oh, it's a great view of Mauna Loa. And you can see a lot of these little kind of cylinders on the ground, these little bumps. I think these are just remnants of a little bit of volcanic activity. The big island of Hawaii is the newest island in the chain. Newest, youngest, geologically. You go further out that way, Maui's also not super old. You go out toward Oahu and Kauai Islands, those are the oldest, and they're the most weathered. They have all the canyons and stuff like that this island really doesn't have. They put restricted airspace between the mountains where small planes can fly? Rude. It's probably because of the army activity they have up there. If you pull the map up, there are still ways to get around it. You could fly a little higher right along the edge, or you'd have to go around. Which is probably the safer thing to do in the real world in general. If you're going IFR, you don't have to worry about it. And I mean, if you get permission to go through the airspace. Now, and also, I don't know about this one specifically, but I could look it up. But many restricted airspace areas are not always active. So you can fly through it when it is inactive, what we call cold. When it's hot, you obviously have to plan accordingly to go around or get permission. Or you can go above it, depending on that. So, this isn't necessarily from the ground up unlimited. It's not active all the time. But if you look at this island here, and this is specific to Hawaii and some of the other islands in the Pacific, you get the trade winds that actually come from the northeast down to the southwest. In the southern hemisphere, like at Tahiti and stuff, they'd come from the southeast going to the northwest. But this brings all the rain showers, and that's why it's more lush. Eventually the mountains block the trade winds, and that's where the clouds form and drop all the rain, and then they can't go past the mountains much. That's not to say that it doesn't rain on the leeward side of the islands, which is the drier side, but it's less common. So you look here, the leeward side is basically this, the windward side is this. Up here on Maui, this is extremely lush, a little less so down here, this is pretty dry, and then this is kind of in the middle because there's a gap between the two volcanoes that make up this island. Same with Molokai, it's lush over here on the east, it's pretty dry on the west. Same with here, and the same with here, Kauai. The last time I watched you, you were at 75 subs, and now you're at 128. You're getting famous or popular? No, just growing slowly, man. Alright, what we can do now is we'll set the nav and turn the heading off, but we'll just have to watch to make sure we don't fly into this or too close to it. Well, we're pointed right toward Kona. And basically what we do is when we pass this, we're going to go ahead and cut the power and start dropping. That's why Hawaiian coffee and pineapples are so good. Yes, absolutely. is a little breezy up here, and the other thing too with the winds is when they tend to go down the mountain or around it, it can kind of create some bumpy conditions when you're flying close to the mountains and stuff. There's some thin clouds. I don't think we're going to be going through any of them. We should be okay. I think we're good to actually start a descent. So what I'm going to do is cut the autopilot, and we're going to descend by hand. Let's pull the power back a little bit. And let's just trim the plane down. I don't want our speed to pick up too much. Let's grab the weather at Kona real quick. Come on, keep descending. Alright. 250 at 90, so we're going to have a crosswind coming in because the runway runs north to south. 10 miles visibility, scattered at 6,000. We'll get below that fine. 30 Celsius, it's 86 Fahrenheit, so it's a little warmer over here than it was at Kona, or at Hilo, sorry. At 29.97 on the altimeter. So let me set that quick. Here we are. I'll pull back on the power. And we can start pulling the power. Look right there. So that rises pretty steeply here, but then it drops off pretty rapidly when we get to the coast. Airport's over here. We're going to come into the north. It might be a very slight tailwind component. I'm not too concerned about that. Enriching the mixture a little bit here. Oh, why did... I thought I cut the autopilot. Huh. This is lagging a little bit. I wonder if it's just because there's so many trees. But you can see the airport right down here. Happy Thanksgiving Day at my dad's car. My friend made that joke up. Oh yeah, you're a few months early. We're coming in pretty steep here. Let's cut the power completely. Down to idle. Kona's one of the handcrafted airports. It's pretty cool. And yeah, you can see the communities over here. Actually goes pretty far up the slope here. You don't see that a lot on some of the other islands. But this is the other major population center on the big island. Outside of Hilo, it's mostly all concentrated over here. Kailua, Kona. Let me zoom in here. I think we may actually want to fly out a little bit wider. We're down to 2,000. About 1,000 feet above the ground. We're kind of right at the edge of the yellow as we keep descending here. When we get to 1500, we'll level off and make a turn. I want to fly out a little wider. So just keeping my eye on the airfield here. I see it, but I don't have the runway end. Alright, we can add a little power in. Not using any flaps yet. Just kind of letting the airplane slow itself down so that when we're ready, we can drop the flaps as needed. Alright, 1400, coming down to 13. We're okay, we're 500 feet above the ground. At least. Ideally, we'd be 1,000, but this is sufficient. It's the main highway. I think I see it, the runway right there. Alright. So let's go ahead and cut the power and get slowed down. We can drop the first notch of flaps at 95. There we go. Final things, mixture goes full rich, carb heat's gonna come out. Let's trim the plane up a little bit. Whoa. Is my trim reversed? Feels like it. Add power back in. We don't want to slow down too much. But at any moment we can go ahead and go flaps 2. But let's turn final and drop the second set of flaps here. Get a view of the golf course, and then this almost looks like some sort of like residual lava flows or something. Alright. I think I see the runway. It's kind of tough to... Yeah, I see it now. So we're kind of on a 45 dog leg to the runway. It's fine. Add a little power here. Flaps full. And it is kind of tough to make that out. We're a tad bit high. We've got 3 white and 1 red on the glide slope indicator. Let's just keep coming in here. Don't want to overspeed the flaps. Now we're looking pretty good. Now we're a tad bit low. We are slow. We should be probably closer to about 60 to 65. But this is okay. We're still flying. This plane won't stall until we get to about 40 with full flaps. Got that crosswind. Easy down. Take the power out and just flare. Nope, we're floating. I'm down. Oh, we bounced. Alright, there we go, we're on the ground. Get a view out of the cockpit here, we can see a little better when we taxi. Let's bring the flaps up. And we have a turn right here. Easy on the brakes. And what I'm not sure of is where do the small planes. I think... Yeah, I think they parked down over here, so we'll go ahead and there. We can go back into the cockpit here. And yep, that's all good. And go back full forward. Didn't even have to change the fuel tanks. Little boost to the power there. And let's find the parking for some of these smaller planes a little further up ahead. Can I do a Planet Coaster 2 live stream today or tomorrow? Yeah, perhaps. At 12 a.m.? No. Not happening. Look at all the jets that are my size, no offense. Yeah, right? Big jets are a little tougher. I'm really not great at flying the big jets. I used to do a lot more of them when I was in like in college and stuff, when I would play FSX Flight Sim 10. And that was back in like 2009, and a little after that was when I really got into the bigger stuff. But I've always just preferred the smaller planes, just by nature of that's what I fly in the real world, and that's what lets you see the scenery the best and stuff. Look around. This is actually a really nice handcrafted airport, but it is a little tricky. Come on, keep rolling, man. But look at all these facilities, are so well handcrafted. Whoa! And that's the problem with this thing, the power's so finicky. That looks like it might be the FBO. And look at all the small planes parked on the side. It seems very relaxing and therapeutic, like you can be alone in the sky with your thoughts in the view. You know, yes. And when you're at cruise and you do longer flights, I mean, there's just really nothing going on. However, it gets very complex to fly them on takeoff and climb and approach and landing. They're quite difficult. Small planes are just naturally easier. I mean, compare it to driving like a Nissan Sentra as opposed to a Ferrari with ridiculous power. Probably not much difference when you're at, you know, your cruise control is set on the highway and you're just moving around and whatnot. Alright, there you are. You see that little hop? You notice the plane started to kind of nose over a tad when we hit the brakes. That's why you have to be so careful, and that's why I pull back on the stick, is that keeps the airflow disrupted to keep the tail down. If we were to hit the brakes too abruptly, going too fast, and we didn't have that back elevator, you very well could run the nose into the ground. You smack the prop, damage the engine, and upset a lot of people. And that's in tail wheels. With your traditional gear, your tricycle gear, you don't have to worry about that, obviously. Alright, back into the cockpit. Let's get this sucker shut down. Alright. It also seems like the plane is flying in the sky high, but what if it's not flying high? Then it cannot spin loops, then it can go upside down, then the airplane is a chill ride, but rough sometimes. I'm not sure what you're getting at there. No, let's keep those on. Avionics master off first. Mixture full, rich, prop full forward. We never had to touch the fuel. There's probably a little difference. Not much, actually. Short flight, we only burned probably 4 or 5 gallons, so. Alternator can come off. Now, mixture. Idle cut. Engine is stopped. Strobe lights, nav lights off. 2 magnetos are off. And finally, battery master. There we go, 33 minutes, so it took just a tiny bit longer than expected, like a minute and a half more than the flight planner on SkyVector had said. Pretty good time. And there we are. Alright, welcome to Kona, Hawaii. This is a beautiful handcrafted airport. Great view of Hualalai in the background. Now, from here you can't really see Mauna Kea. You do have a view of Maui in the distance here, which is kind of cool, but I'll point out too, if you look at the big island, it's so large, and it also sits a bit further away from some of the other islands in the chain. Like, I've been to Maui, and on this western coast you can see 3 islands, and if the visibility's really good, you can see just a little bit of the big island. But from here you really can't see much past that, the southeast part of Maui. So, cool views nonetheless, though. Alright, that's going to do it for this one. I don't know if I'm going to do another flight or Planet Coaster tonight. Gotta go, bye Cookie, see you later or tomorrow when I come back. Alright, man, have a great evening, thanks for hanging out. It remains to be determined if I'm gonna do more streaming tonight. I have a couple things I want to get done. And my plans for tomorrow are kind of up in the air right now, so there's a good chance I'll be on. It's possible I won't, so I would return Monday in that case. But just stay tuned. If you all have the notifications when I go live, you'll see. Have a good day. I appreciate it, you too. And, but yeah, we'll pick back up with something here soon. So, alright. Thank you all for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you later.